What's your childhood mystery that you finally solved years later? Story 1. When I was in elementary school, I always wondered what teachers' staff room was like. It seemed so mysterious, and I remember trying to get a peek anytime I walked by and the door would open. Later, it became a teacher and can fully confirm their dull, often toxic spaces full of cranky teachers complaining about students. Story 2. My dad used to occasionally burst out with this one line of a song. Said Barnacle Bill the sailor. Only ever that line. When I was 6 or so, I asked him why, and he said it was an old drinking song that was absolutely filthy, and I was too young to hear the rest of it. This continued once or twice a year until I was 18. I told him I was an adult now and he could tell me the rest of the song. I distinctly remember him looking up from the newspaper, sighing and folding it, and then going, "The truth is, I can never remember the rest of the song," and then went right back to reading the newspaper. Story 3. The entire time I lived in my childhood home, my mom hid my Christmas presents in her secret hiding place. She made it sound mystical and mysterious. A few months ago, while I moved out, she finally told me what the secret hiding place actually was. The Christmas tree box in the cabinet of the garage. She would replace the Christmas tree with my presents when she would put the tree up. Story 4. I remember being about 8 and in the car with my dad. I was in the front seat and we were driving somewhere, and the song came on the radio. He cranked it and said something about it being the best guitar playing ever. He really jammed out, which was really uncharacteristic because he was usually so stoic. It was the only time I heard the song, and he died before I could ever ask him what song it was. When I asked around, no one knew what the fuck I was talking about or what song I was thinking of. So I had this melody in my head for years, but how do you look up a song that has no lyrics? So for years and years, the song stayed on the back burner in my brain. I was afraid to forget it. Somehow the story pops up when I'm like 26 or so, chatting with my husband, and we search YouTube for best guitar songs. After about 15 minutes, we find it. Cliffs of Dover was the song that I'd burned into my brain on repeat for 16 years. Now I jam out to it with my kids. Story 5. When I was younger, like 4 or 5, my family had a pet turtle. One day the turtle went missing and my parents told me it climbed the wall in our backyard and went to the creek behind our house. I, being a naive toddler child, did not question this logic. Fast forward to when I was 17 and driving with my mom in the car. We saw a tortoise crossing the street and I was suddenly thrown back to my memory of us having a pet turtle. I pulled over to save the tortoise and was like, "Oh my God, Mom, turtles can't climb walls. What happened to our turtle?" Came to find out, it had burrowed a hole in our lawn, and my dad didn't notice it until he ran over it with the lawnmower. Obviously, it was easier to pick up the pieces and tell your kid it climbed the wall than admit you murdered it with the lawnmower. TLDR, parents lied to me about a pet going missing, and I found out it was brutally murdered on accident by my father. Story 6. My mom used to call us in for dinner by yelling out the back door from the kitchen. I was in middle school before I realized the screen door was actually called a screen door. Story 7. I visited my dad when I was 6 or 7 years old at the place where he worked, or so I was told. I remember remarking at the time and people laughing at me because I said it looked like just a prison. The people laughing were the guards, and I was indeed visiting my dad at Terminal Island Federal Correctional Institution, where he was a federal inmate. Story 8. Reverse of this. As a kid, my dad would call me from the other side of the house to bring him something to drink from the kitchen. He always drank from a straw, and about first grade, I started getting annoyed at this, so I started poking a tiny hole in the straw as my little vengeance. I didn't come clean about this until I was like 22 years old. The look on his face was priceless. It's like he instantly snapped back to then and knew exactly what I was talking about and just said, "Son of a, you did, didn't you?" He just thought we bought cheap straws. Story 9. Not sure if this is considered a mystery or not. My mother, who passed away in 2009, used to make a meatloaf every single year on Groundhog's Day. Every single year. Every single year she would tell us it was groundhog, and I always thought it tasted like ground beef, but I was a kid. I'm 33 now. Last year. Last year, I said something to my brother about it and asked if he knew where Mom got the groundhog. I wanted to do that for Son. My brother had no idea what I was talking about. I told him about it, and he just started laughing. My wife started laughing. My own son, who didn't know why, started laughing. Mom got me good. Mystery solved. It was just regular meatloaf. Story 10. I solved a family mystery for my mom. I wasn't allowed to play console video games during the week all the way until I was 18, but some nights I'd really be craving it, so I would noiselessly creep through my house into the basement where I could play video games in peace. But once every 30 times or so, one of my parents would need something from the basement, and I'd quickly turn off the TV monitor, hide in the guest room, and pray they didn't turn on a light or notice the Xbox was on. One night, I ducked into the guest room and hid behind the bed. To my horror, Mom followed me into the room and turned on the lights. I was panicking, so when she started digging through the closet with her back to me, I made a run for it. I nearly brushed her shirt, and if she'd seen me, I'd probably have given her a heart attack. But I made it and kept going all the way to bed. About 5 years went by. My mom said something like, "You're such a quiet walker." And I told her it was because my basement trips, thinking I had nothing to lose. My mom's face went kind of solemn, and when I explained, she said, "So there really was someone down there." And she explained that she remembered that exact night and the feeling that there was a ghost in the room. Over the next couple of days, she'd stare into space and just say, "I can't believe you were really there." She seemed to get over it, but she probably checks empty rooms closer now. Story 11. I met my wife in college when we were dating, and she often mentioned that when she was a kid, she had to play a doctor's kit that was stolen from her house. She had some surgeries really young, and so her parents bought it for her to demystify the doctor's office. She used it all the time on her dad, poking and prodding on him. One day, I asked her about the robbery. Did they take everything? Jewelry, the TV, other valuables? No, no, and no. They hit me. I asked, "So, someone broke into your house and only stole your doctor's kit, leaving anything worth fencing there?" "Yeah, why?" "Did you ever consider your folks were tired of you using the kit on them all the time after you got better?" "Oh, damn." We confirmed it with her dad later, but for 15 years she believed that some thief broke in and stole only her beloved doctor's kit. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch our YouTube video. If you find our content helpful and enjoyable, please click the subscribe button to stay updated on any new videos we share in the future. Thank you once again, and we hope to see you in our next upcoming videos.